County Board of Commissioners meeting for June 17th to order. At this time, we're going to have the Pledge of Allegiance and then the invocation led by Commissioner Margie Walls. All rise, please.
Father God, thank you for this beautiful day. We come before you this evening with the business of Jackson County. Please guide us to make our decisions that are pleasing to you and for the benefit of the county. May the words that are spoken here in this chamber this evening show kindness and respect. In Jesus' name, amen.
Madam Clerk, could you call the roll, please?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Bear,
Present.
Commissioner Walls,
Here.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Here.
Commissioner Duckham,
Here.
Commissioner Pileski,
Here.
Commissioner Willis,
Here.
Commissioner Williams,
Present.
Commissioner Snell, Chairman Shotwell.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So move.
I have a motion and support. Commissioner Pileski, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Move to add an item under number 3. Major Van Hoof is here to make a presentation.
So we're going to add an item 3A, recognition of the Revolutionary War patriots. Any other items to be added to the agenda? Hearing none, all in favor of amended agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Duly carried. We've arrived at awards and recognitions. Major Van Hoof, could you please approach the pedestal and present your item?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is David Van Hoof, former resident of Jackson County, Michigan, and past national officer with the National Society Sons of the American Revolution. Michigan has over 300 American Revolutionary War patriots buried within its state borders. Jackson County alone has 25. I'm almost sure that every district in Jackson has a patriot buried in its grounds. Since 2012, Michigan Society Sons of the American Revolution have been dedicating cemetery plaques where we are providing to the local populace not only a marker for the grave of those patriots, but also providing them the history and what it is that they actually had done, much like the one that we have here. Jackson County is fortunate now. This will be the second marker that we'll be having in this district. The first one we did was for Joseph Darling down at Woodlawn Cemetery, and then this will honor John Wall, Samuel Hollister, and Abiathar Lincoln out at Chapel Cemetery in Parma. We'll be dedicating this plaque on Sunday at 3 o'clock, and of course you are all warmly invited to attend. In anticipation of our country's upcoming 250th anniversary, all Americans should visit the grave sites of our veterans and take inspiration from these heroic individuals, set aside our differences, and come together in accomplishing our country's business and ensuring that life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is available to all. So I'd like to thank you for your time and consideration, and I'll be glad to take any questions that you may have.
When is the ceremony?
It will be on Sunday at 3 o'clock in the evening, weather permitting.
At the cemetery?
At the Chapel Cemetery, located on Michigan Ave as you're going into Parma on the right-hand side or the north side.
Any further questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Any communications, please present them at this time to the clerk's chair. Seeing none, we have no special orders nor public hearings. We've arrived at the first opportunity for public comment. Public comment guidelines, each individual will state their name and have 3 minutes to address the board. You may only address the board once under this public comment opportunity and may not yield your time to others. Board members will not debate or answer questions at this time. Public comment is now open.
Hello, my name is Kenneth Mangus. Live out in Rives Township. I am here to speak about the abysmal condition of our roads and the process of getting repairs, where we have to call, each person on the street has to call in their potholes, and trucks come out and patch a hole and drive by a bunch of other ones because that person didn't call. It's not efficient. It's very expensive, actually, because they drive out to patch one hole, go back, drive wherever they have to go, and then they drive back out and patch some other holes. When they have driven by some holes they could have patched while they were there. I don't know how that system got in place, but it just doesn't make good sense. It doesn't make economic sense to me. And I would like to see some action taken on that. Now, I did talk to one of the road supervisors, and he said that there are crews out doing the complete patching now, and that's good. And hopefully they're doing good patching and not just throwing some stuff in the hole and driving away. You know, those holes need to be cleaned out, they need to be sealed, and then the patch, once it's put in, needs to be compacted so it actually stays there. And another thing I'd like to see happen is that a little bit more chip and seal happens, because my road is cracked up pretty bad now and it's starting to really deteriorate, whereas some sealing of that road surface every, 10 years would make a big difference. I lived on South Street, right after I moved in there, they did the sealing and the chip. And that held that road for a long time. And then, was it 2 years ago, they finally replaced the road. But it held it pretty well for a long time. So maybe a little bit more of that being done on some of these back roads. I get a lot of traffic on my road on Saturdays and Wednesdays when the recycling is open. And you know, it would be nice to have the road fixed. Thank you.
James Minnick, Columbia Township. I want to speak about agenda item 10A, the clerk's recommendation to approve the preservation of the 34 historic plat books with the funding from the Automation Fund in the amount of $449,485. I had a chance to see her study session presentation and look through some of these old plat books, and being somebody who thinks that we really need to preserve our history in its form that you can touch and look at versus something that might go into a digital record. And so I guess all I'm doing is, from the public comments position, unless anybody objects, I give full support to the clerk's recommendation.
My name is Kathy Kraft, and I'm from Summit Township. I'm here today to voice my disgust with Sheriff's decision to support ICE agents. I understand that this is political propaganda stunt rather than a real safety issue. I would like to address the Sheriff's story, 6-minute story that I missed last week. He began telling the story about a woman accused of a man accused of domestic violence, of course, violence against women and children, and he had to let them go, only to find out later that he was wanted by ICE. The part of the story that I liked best was the car chase, because it assumed, it's so exciting to watch. Everybody can imagine a car chase and how much damage that it would cause, and that this person was out there somewhere waiting to pounce on innocent victims. But most importantly, the story is straight out of Trump's playbook. And I would not be surprised if Trump himself wrote that story. Another thing the sheriff said was about trespassers on our land, or in your yard, excuse me. I would just like to say that Native American culture would have a lot to say about that comment. And also, how can you complain about trespassers when we have a huge welcome sign in the front yard called the Statue of Liberty? Most immigration officials say that the only difference between documented and undocumented immigrants is money. The wonderful Biden administration tried to pass humane immigration reform, but the evil Trump and his minions voted it down because they were not concerned about fixing the immigration system. They wanted instead to use the issue to run on hate and fear. Now there's a quota. Now Trump has a quota of 3,000 arrests per day, going through people who are going through the normal process legally of immigration being arrested straight out of the courtroom and taken away by masked ICE agents and unmarked vans. In America, we are innocent until proven guilty. Everyone deserves a trial. And to that commissioner who is a Trump supporter, I would just say that I agree with you on one thing. I do too believe in law and order. So let's start with your president and his 34 felony counts, or 34 convictions. And he's also been implicated on domestic violence. One of those convictions I know was at least a rape case. And talk about domestic violence.
15 seconds, ma'am.
I would also like to add that in most workplaces, you are asked to keep your political opinions to yourself. And I would just ask that of the Jackson County Sheriff's Department, that they keep their political opinions to themselves. act
You're out of time,
professionally.
ma'am. Thank you. Any other public comment? Any other public comment? Public comment is now closed. We have no special meetings or standing committees. Approval of the minutes of the May 20th, 2025 meeting.
So moved.
We have a motion and support. Any corrections, deletions, or additions? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We have arrived at the consent agenda. Entertain a motion for the consent agenda.
Move to adopt the consent agenda. Support.
I have a motion and support. Any items for removal for discussion later?
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Start with Commissioner Bear.
I would like to remove 10E, Administrator Amendment to Court-Appointed Services Contract.
That's going to become standing committee item under general government, item 14A, chaired by Commissioner Duckham. Commissioner Duckham, all right?
We've got it, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Any other items, Commissioner Bear?
No, not for me. Thank you.
Commissioner Williams?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just have a couple of quick questions for 9B.
9E?
9B, as in boy.
9B. Thank you, sir. Appears under Public Safety and Transportation, chaired by Vice Chairman Corey Kennedy. Commissioner Kennedy, you all set?
Yes, is that gonna be item B then under my,
Yes, sir.
okay.
9B.
Any other items? Hearing none. Madam Clerk, could you post the vote?
No, just a question. Yeah, we're all set.
We pass?
Passes unanimously.
Thank you. We've now arrived at the Standing Committee reports. Standing Committee Public Safety and Transportation, chaired by Vice Chairman Corey Kennedy. Commissioner Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We'll start tonight with some appointments to our, give me one moment here, to our Emergency Management Advisory Council. First position that's up is the county commissioner seat on that. Commissioner Williams is the current member. He has reapplied and he is the committee recommendation.
Any nominations from the floor? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Congratulations, Darius.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Kennedy.
The next is the Jackson County Medical Control seat. Tim Black's the current member. He is the applicant. He is the committee recommendation.
Any other nominations?
Question?
Sir? Go ahead.
I had mentioned in committee that the application was the most blank application I've ever seen, so little information provided. Did the word get back to Mr. Black? Did he provide an application that included a little more information? Or did
Nope.
that not happen?
No, sir, it did not happen because these seats are dedicated seats as directed by each one of these offices. And either the elected official or the appointed person names the person to represent that office on this advisory committee. And all they need to do is submit a name. And Mr. Black in the past has served on this committee, and it's just a concurrence with what the chairman or the director of that department would like to have. So all we're doing is concurring at this time with those appointments. Technically,
Thank you for that explanation. I appreciate it.
yep. Any other questions? All in favor of Mr. Back?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Commissioner Kennedy.
Thank you. It takes us to the Jackson Emergency Medical Services seat. Brian Walls is the current member. He's the applicant. He is also the committee recommendation.
Entertain a motion to concur?
So moved.
We have a motion and support. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Duly carried. Commissioner Kennedy.
Takes us to the final seat that we have an applicant for tonight. That's 911 Central Dispatch. Current members Jason Hammond. He is the applicant. He is the committee recommendation.
Entertain a motion for concurrence? We have a support. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Duly carried. Now be aware that all of these people, Police Chief Simpson, Sergio Garcia, Chad Everett, Kevin Rod, Scott Jazinski, Dan Deering, Freddie Dancy, Jeff Kirkpatrick, Tim McEldowney will all continue to serve until their seats are either filled or they are put up for reappointment. So this does not just stop working. Commissioner Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you for the explanation. Takes us to item 13B. That was the item that was removed, the 911 NICE-CEN recorder upgrade.
Do you want to start with a motion, Commissioner Kennedy, or do you want to take
Yeah, I
questions?
can start with the motion. The committee recommended approval, so I will put forth that motion, recommend approval.
Okay, Commissioner Williams, thank you, I have a support. Did you have a question, sir?
Yes, sir. Just one or two quick questions. Thank you. So during the presentation of this, it was stated that the funding would come from their budget, but on the report on tonight, and then on the report the written report that was given on the day of as well, mentioned that they were asking for general fund dollars. So I just wanted clarification for that.
So you understand, anytime there is money held in abeyance from a budget, reserve or otherwise, it is placed in the general fund, but it is designated for the operations of that operations.
Okay.
So if you had extra revenue in the court system, it would stay in their line item. And then what would occur is that if there was an appropriation to be done by the Board of Commissioners to spend that money, it would come forward like this has, and we would then recognize the dollars and remove them from their general fund reserve 911 and spend it,
Okay.
okay?
Okay.
Yep,
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Nothing further.
yes, sir. Further questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Duly carried. Commissioner Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That concludes business for public safety and transportation tonight.
Thank you, sir. Standing Committee, General Government, chaired by Commissioner Duckham. Commissioner Duckham, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have one item tonight that was the one removed from the consent agenda. Administration, it's the amendment to court-appointed services contract.
Did you want to start with a motion and support, or did you want to,
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to go to to approval.
okay? We have a motion and support. Commissioner Bear, do you have questions on this item?
Yes, thank you, Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Part of the motion printed out here is to waive County Policy 5100. County policies are written because there's a need for a policy, and this covers insurance of contractors. Well, this is a contractor, and it does cover insurance. I see in the in policy 5100, contractors are required to carry commercial general liability insurance, $1 million per occurrence, motor vehicle liability insurance, $1 million per occurrence. They have an additional insured, commercial liability and motor vehicle liability insurance, that the additional insured is county elected officials, other elected appointed persons. And it also, the policy also has a hold harmless clause. So we're deleting those requirements, and in the contract between this individual and the courts, we have insurance requirements, a list of insurance requirements. That's item D, 10, item 10, miscellaneous provisions, D, insurance requirements. So there we still have professional liability, each occurrence. We have general liability insurance up to $300,000. And my question is, there's no vehicle liability insurance. There's no additional insured, only an indemnification that occurs under paragraph G. So the protections that the county receives when policy 5100 is enforced, the protections the county receives are much higher. In this contract with the reduced liabilities, reduced coverage, I guess I'm looking for an explanation, why are we doing this? Why are we reducing the coverage that the county has on every other contractor? So that'd be my first question, why are we doing this? Second question would be that persons that are currently in this position, or the person who gave up this position because of their schedule, is this contract the identical contract that they signed? Or is this unique for this one person? That's what I'd like to know, if somebody can tell me that.
I will recognize Deborah Kabinski, Assistant County Administrator. Deborah, would you like to answer?
Yes, so this contract has been approved by our attorney. The waiver of the policy has been approved by our attorney. If you recall, we just did this in February. We have a turnover in our neglect and abuse, so we just did this in February, and this conversation was had in February. But basically, these contractors are a little bit different than most of the contractors that we have here in Jackson County. Policy 5100 is dedicated, it talks about Michigan's no-fault law of driving. These people don't drive for us. they're basically working as an attorney, so they're not driving in any capacity. Additionally, policy 5100 talks generally about bodily injury, including death, property damage to a third party, which generally is a result of construction and things of that nature, so it's not applicable. Attorneys are required to have liability insurance, but it's a different rider, which our attorneys have to have for our public defender's office, so that's why this policy is not applicable, because it's a different type of insurance that they have to carry. And so we have to pay a separate policy, a rider to our policy for our attorneys in our public defender's office. So it's a different type of insurance. Policy 51 is not applicable for many reasons, and they do have insurance, but it's on their own because they're their own individual company. So, and yes, the contracts are the same. You can look back in February, because we just did this in February. Look back to the original ones that are a couple years ago. They're all the same. The only thing that changes is the type of work that they're doing. Some of them are doing abuse and neglect. Some of them are doing juvenile delinquencies. Some are doing criminal casework for the juveniles. So the only thing that changes is that, the pay that they're receiving for the type of work that they're doing, and who their backup person is.
Thank you. I appreciate that explanation.
Okay, we have a motion and support on the floor. Any further questions? Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. We've arrived at unfinished business. There is none to come before the board. We've arrived at new business. There's none to come before the board. I'm sorry, I apologize again. You didn't have any specific, oh, yes, you do. Standing Committee, Human Services, chaired by Commissioner Pileski. Commissioner Pileski. Again, my neglect, I apologize.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As someone who loves his own voice, I have to make sure I do this. We have one appointment tonight under Human Services, the Veterans Affairs Committee, a veteran member for a term expiring March of 2026. The current member is Bill Tripp. The applicant is James Ducey, and he is the committee recommendation, Mr. Chair.
We have a nomination, and I believe Mr. Ducey is filling a specific spot on the Veterans Affairs Board, but I'm not aware what it is.
He's filling as a veteran member, and I think his DD 214 was part of the board packet tonight.
Yes, sir. This is a motion to concur. I have a motion from Commissioner Pileski. Do I have support?
Support.
We have a motion and support. Any questions to the motion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Duly carried. Commissioner Pileski.
We have nothing further tonight, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We've now arrived at unfinished business, which there is none. We've arrived at new business, which there is none. We've arrived at the second. Yes, sir?
I have a concern in our county with leptospirosis. That is a contagious disease that is transmitted between. Leptospirosis is a disease that's transmitted between any mammals. The veterinarians that vaccinate animals, leptospirosis is not a mandated drug, but it's highly recommended. To be a good vet will vaccinate for leptospirosis along with the other required vaccinations. It's my understanding that our Jackson County Animal Control, when they vaccinate animals and put them out for adoption, that they have not been vaccinated for leptospirosis. It's transmitted from the animal's urine. You got any little cut on your hand. So if you've picked up a new puppy at the animal shelter, take it home, and you're trying to teach your kids to be responsible, take care of the dog. Your kid's got a little cut on their finger, and you send them to wipe up the pee that the new puppy has deposited on your floor. That is how leptospirosis gets transmitted to humans. It destroys your kidney and your liver. It's a very serious health hazard, and I think we need to ask our animal shelter to start including that in the vaccinations. Second point is our animal shelter is doing free vet clinics out in the community. There's one at Tompkins Township coming up soon. The state mandates that the vet keep the records for 7 years. So if we're vaccinating animals and letting them out for adoption, they must keep those records for 7 years. I don't know what their current plan is. The vets in the area, if they take in emergency services, it's for people that already have an account with the vet. If the vet doesn't know the people, doesn't know what they've been vaccinated for, doesn't know their history, they're not going to come in at midnight on an emergency call when somebody's dog is injured. So getting your vaccinations free through the animal shelter sounds good. But those, unless the animal shelter responds to emergency calls at midnight on a Saturday, it's going to be very difficult for these people to get emergency care. That's just the way veterinarians operate. Additional item, to me, this is an entity of government. They operate off of taxpayer dollars, and they're now coming in direct competition to every private veterinary practice in the county. I do not believe that government should be in direct competition against private businesses. The private businesses, the individuals that own them, pay the taxes, or they pay the animal or the shelter millage. So they pay money into a system that then becomes their major competition, taking business away from them. I think we need to rethink that. Do we want our animal shelter vaccinating out in Tompkins Township, taking business away from local vets? And after the business is taken away from local vets, that animal owner is not going to get emergency treatment. So I think we need a serious discussion on that. I'm sure there's information other people can provide. But I would like to see this on a study session where we can have great depth in the discussion, discuss the merits of it, discuss specifically the health risks of it. Because if somehow I come in contact with your dog's pee, wiping up a mess, I can contract leptospirosis. And that's a risk to other humans that we shouldn't be allowing, my opinion. So I'm requesting, unless you want me to make some motion tonight, I'm requesting this be put on the study session, have our animal shelter here, maybe invite some private veterinarians here, and let's have a discussion on where we think this program should go.
So formal policy states, Commissioner Bear, that you would make a motion to redirect this to the Administrator's Controller's Office for further study. Is there support for Commissioner Bear's motion? Okay, we have a motion and support. All in favor of redirecting it to the Administrator Controller's Office, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Duly carried, so directed.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. We're moving to public comment, sir,
Can I do one more thing under new business?
if you want to.
Thank you. I looked up Controller Overton's Friday updates for the last 11 months. There are quite a few of the updates that discuss, and if commissioners want these exact dates, I can give them to you. Quite a few times there are discussions about mistreatment of animals and exotic pets, guinea pigs, and they're seized. 30 dead cats in a garage. Dog hoarding, 29 dogs. And these people are prosecuted or they're put in for a mental health review. And 2 felony counts. A terribly emaciated dog that came in. The animal people nicknamed it Mercy. That person received 2 felony accounts, or 2 felony charges. Our controller went with our township supervisor at Tompkins to go look at 3 dead dogs in a house and 3 more that were emaciated. Criminal charges were filed. So I got a question. We have a current case. I'm not going to divulge information about it, but we have 4 dogs that were discovered in a freezer. The dogs were abused. One of them had broken ribs. One of them was emaciated. One long-haired dog had so much feces packed into its hair that it couldn't even poop anymore. It was just blocked up. Now, if that's not animal abuse, you need to redefine animal abuse for me. But so far, I heard nothing about criminal charges being brought. And I would hate to think it's because who this individual is, because that's not right. So I want that in our further discussions. I would like to refer this back to the administrator to look into this current case a little deeper and come back with a,
Commissioner Bear, you're asking for the administrator controller to become the prosecutor in Jackson County. We have an elected official that's the prosecutor in Jackson County. That person will come up with the charges as she deems them appropriate. So I think you need to contact the prosecutor's office to find out where she's at on these cases. It's not the administrator controller's job to do that. It's the prosecutor's
This is the
job.
first I've heard that has even been referred to the prosecutor. So if it has been, thank you.
Well, that's where you should take it. These are things that should go to the prosecutor. Your questions should be directed at the prosecutor.
Well, when the controller, their statement is,
It
maybe
belongs to
there'll
the,
be a citation.
it belongs to the prosecutor's office. And that's what we've been told so far. We have to wait for them to do their job.
Okay, nobody told me it was being referred to the prosecutor, so thank you for making that happen. I appreciate it.
Any further comments under new business? We've arrived at public comment. Public guidelines, each individual will state their name and will have 2 minutes to address the board. You may only address the board once under this public comment opportunity and may not yield your time to others. Board members will not debate nor answer questions at this time. Public comment for the second time is open. Any public comment?
My name is Kenneth Mangus, and the discussion just now made me remember an incident that should be brought to your attention because it was really pretty serious. At Sharp Park School this year, there was a raccoon behaving strangely near where the children were coming out at the end of the day. My son called 911 to ask them to come do something about this raccoon who may be sick, may have rabies, we don't know, because it's strange for raccoons to be out during the day, just kind of wander around. He was told by 911 that animal control only answers for dogs and cats. I don't believe that's the case. And whoever was answering the phone, maybe they need to have an in-service on what animal control does. And I would request that you refer that to a proper person and get it taken care of, because where the children are at, we need people to take proper action, and leaving a raccoon wandering around is not proper action. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Any other public comment? Seeing none, we've arrived at commissioner comments. Any commissioner comments tonight? Seeing none, we have no closed session. We are adjourned. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We have a motion and support. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those